Hey everybody, welcome back to the Lightning Bolts Chronicles. If it's your first time, thanks for joining us. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. I am Christina McCrary, aka Xtina McCrazy on TikTok and Instagram, co-host of this beautiful magical podcast. I also have another podcast and I co-host another podcast, but all of that stuff can be found at one simple link. You'll see it right down here, msha.ke/XTNMcrazy, merch, this podcast, that podcast, all the podcasts brought to you by Sarcarrogance Media Group. But right now, I would like for my bestie and co-host to introduce herself. I'm not introducing her, she's going to introduce herself.
Hi, magical friends. This is Erica, your local Hufflepuff. I am Poodle Noodle 82 at the Instagram scene.
At the Instagrammy place. I love it when you say that. Oh, she always says she's your local Hufflepuff, but I feel like I don't have to point out that I'm a Ravenclaw, but just in case anybody was missing any clues, we're Ravenclaw over here. Ravenpuff in the house. All right. Here we are. It's time to do another chapter.
Woohoo!
Chapter 13, titled Nicholas
Chapter 13.
Flamel.
Basically, we left off with the mirror where Dumbledore was kind of warning Harry not to go looking for it again, that it doesn't do us any good to dwell on past and things. And he also told us that when he looks in the mirror, he sees himself holding a pair of socks. Some socks, because obviously it's a very personal question, and I don't think he answered it truthfully. In this chapter, we don't actually have any new physical characters. We do have two new mentions. And those mentions are Grindelwald, which, if you're new to the Harry Potter world, he comes up in the past in the Fantastic Beasts series, and he is a notable wizard for bad things, I guess.
He's a bad boy.
Yeah. And then we also have Nicholas Flamel. We've mentioned it before. His wife, Perenelle, and we'll discuss her more a little bit when I'm chatting up the chapter. That's it. Those are our characters.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and give the chapter summary?
I'll take you into it. This chapter is called Nicholas Flamel. And we finally find out. We talked about him a teeny tiny bit. We just mentioned him. And now we get to really find out way more information about him, and the plot thickens. So Harry starts off by having what we're going to call his signature nightmares, because this isn't the first, this isn't the last, definitely not the last time that he gets woken up by screaming sounds and a giant green flash of light and then a high-pitched cackle. This is his signature nightmares. It's important to note because they are extremely significant. I mean, a kid having nightmares, right?
Well, not just a kid having nightmares, but having a recurring nightmare that is exactly the same every single time is very significant for anybody, not just for, our new wizard.
If you feel like you're having recurring nightmares that are a little bit haunting, maybe you should talk to someone. Okay. PSA.
Wish you had a Dumbledore, but there are people out there.
Right. There are people out there that can help us with our own personal nightmares. All right. Then break is over because the rest of the time Harry did nothing significant. It was all, above board. And Hermione comes back and she hears about their adventures. And Hermione, yeah, exploits. And Hermione is Hermione. She's like, what? You were out of bed 3 nights in a row? And you didn't find anything about Flamel? So she's both horrified and extremely frustrated with their lives.
Because she's Hermione.
They start giving up hope. And they're all kind of hanging out in the Gryffindor common room. And all of a sudden, Neville comes in. And he is hopping in. He stumbles into the Gryffindor common room, and he's hopping into the Gryffindor common room because someone has performed the leg locker curse on him.
It was Malfoy.
Yes, that's
always friggin' Malfoy.
Yeah, he's the problem. It's him.
He's a problem.
Yeah. So
and not in a cutesy Taylor Swift way. He's a problem for reals.
Yeah. So basically, Hermione is the only one to help Neville. Everyone else is just laughing. And where was he? Where do you think he was to the point of getting to the Gryffindor common room? And that entire time, nobody helped him.
I don't know. Did it say? Because
it doesn't say. He just stumbled into the Gryffindor common room. So who knows?
He must have had to bunny hop all the way up to Gryffindor Tower, is all it says.
Yeah.
I mean, and they live in the tower, so that's up anyway, 7th floor or something.
Yeah. I think to be honest, this is the power of Malfoy and bullies in general, because if you help Neville, right, then if you're from another house other than Gryffindor also, this doesn't look good, right, for you. So you don't want to go against Draco and his little croonies. Anyway, he walks in and everyone is obviously kind of laughing at first, but also feeling sad for him. And Harry says, "You're worth 12 of Draco, Neville. You're worth 12 of him. Here, have a chocolate frog." And that's his way of trying to.
He was outside the library. It says it later. It says it later after they talk and whatever, and then Hermione asks him what happened, and he says, "Malfoy, I met him outside the library." He said he'd been looking for someone to practice that on. So he had to come all the way from the library up to Gryffindor Tower, basically bunny hopping because his legs were locked together, because Malfoy is a POS.
That's too far. Anyway, so he's eating his chocolate frog, and he looks at Harry and he says, "Oh, Harry, do you want your card? You collect them, right?" And Harry's like, "Oh, yeah, thanks." And he looks and he's like, "Oh, I got Dumbledore again, And he's like, whatever. And he's looking at it, and he all of a sudden just oh my gosh, this is where I know Flamel from. And basically he says, "I found him," he whispered. "I found Flamel. I told you I'd read the name somewhere before. I read it on the train coming here." That was a long time.
Yeah, because Dumbledore was the first card he ever got, the first frog card he ever got.
Exactly.
On the train.
And it says that on the back of the card, on the front, there's always a picture, and on the back, there's always a description. And it says that Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the Dark Wizard Grindelwald in 1945, for the discovery of the 12 uses of dragon's blood, and his work on alchemy with his partner, Nicholas Flamel. If you don't know, alchemy is like chemistry. Kind of, dealing with elements, dealing with science experiments and whatnot. But yeah, it just has a lot to do with the elements and kind of chemistry. So then Hermione gets a light bulb moment, and she is like, okay, you just triggered it. Hold on. Goes upstairs, gets a fat book, and she goes, I took this out for a bit of light reading. Yeah, Hermione being Hermione. And then it talks about Nicholas Flamel, and it talks about how he, let's see, he is the only known maker of the Sorcerer's Stone. What is the Sorcerer's Stone, Christina?
Well, Harry and Ron didn't know what it was either, and so, of course, Hermione gets flustered and says, oh, honestly, don't you two read? Look, read that there. And she pushed the book toward them, and Harry and Ron read. The ancient study of alchemy is concerned with the making the Sorcerer's Stone, a legendary substance with astonishing powers. The stone will transform any metal into pure gold. It also produces the elixir of life, which will make the drinker immortal. There have been many reports of the Sorcerer's Stone over the centuries, but the only stone currently in existence belongs to Mr. Nicholas Flamel, the noted alchemist and opera lover. Mr. Flamel, who celebrated his 665th birthday last year, enjoys a quiet life in Devon with his wife, Perenelle, who's 658.
I don't know if I could be that old. I don't think I would enjoy that. I'm not sure. All right. So all that time they figure out who Flamel is. They figure that is what the dog is guarding. That's what Fluffy is guarding. He is guarding the Sorcerer's Stone. And one thing that I thought was absolutely hilarious. Let's see. So all this time, they're trying to decide what they would do with the stone. They're just brainstorming. Man, if I had a stone that turned everything to gold, or if I had a stone that did this or that or whatever, Ron thought, you know what? I'm going to buy a Quidditch team. That's what I would do. And of course, that reminds Harry of his impending doom. The fact that the next Quidditch match is going to be Gryffindor versus Hufflepuff. And there's a special guest this time around. For some reason, I don't know why. Why do you think this is? Because I don't think that they explicitly say that Snape is going to be the referee. Where is?
I'm looking because Wood tells them during practice.
Yes, Wood tells them during practice, but he doesn't specify as to why. They basically just all get upset over it. And I think, was it Fred falls off of his broom because they're all in shock. Like, what?
Snape's refereeing. When's he ever refereed a Quidditch match? He's not going to be fair.
Yeah.
Everybody landed next to him. It's not my fault. We've just got to make sure we play a clean game so Snape hasn't got an excuse to pick on us.
Right. But it doesn't really say.
It doesn't even tell. It doesn't.
No, but like, why would he be substituting, right?
I mean, I suppose there's any number of reasons. Madam Hooch could have been busy or sick or, something.
I suppose. So, Gryffindor versus Hufflepuff, Snape is refereeing. And everybody is, I wouldn't say beside themselves, but they're a little bit frustrated with that. And the match time comes. Harry has this horrible feeling that Snape can read minds because before the match, Harry's walking around, right? And he knows at this point that the Sorcerer's Stone is being guarded by Fluffy, or he surmises that that's the case. And every time he sees Snape in the hallways, he has this horrible feeling, this sensation that Snape knows, that Snape can read minds. Interesting. And as the game approaches, one thing that I absolutely loved about this, and that it shows how their bond is growing, the Golden Trio's bond is growing. Harry doesn't even know that Hermione and Ron have been practicing the Leglocker curse to use it on Snape should they need to. Look at how deep their loyalty goes, right? They're practicing to curse a teacher in the event something goes wrong. I love this. I find it adorable.
No, what's even funnier is it says Ron and Hermione, meanwhile, had found a place in the stands next to Neville, who couldn't understand why they looked so grim and worried, or why they had both brought their wands to the match.
Right. They're thinking something's going down, right? And like the most hilarious part is as they're walking up to the stands, Hermione is like whispering in Ron's ear, "Remember, it's this. And Ron's like, "I know. Stop nagging."
Uh-oh. Go.
Don't He's our new co-host.
Everybody, this is Stormy. She's a mini menace. She is a mini menace. Did you say hi to your Auntie Erica? Don't bite Mommy's microphone.
Yeah, don't eat the microphone, okay, Stormy? Is it night time? Are you do we take a nappy?
I wish you would.
Oh gosh, she's so cute. Okay. All right, so and the game begins. And everybody's prepared for the worst, but hoping for the best. Apparently, Hermione has all of her fingers crossed and shoved in her mouth. All of her fingers crossed and shoved in her mouth. Which I thought was fantastic and hilarious. Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle just so happened to be in the same section. I thought they did that separately, their own sections, but I guess you can sit wherever you want.
I mean, most people tend to sit with the rest of their houses, but, it's Malfoy. And Crabbe and Goyle just go wherever Malfoy goes, so...
And they're just trying to stir the pot, basically, is what's happening.
Mm-hmm. So, and says, "I didn't see you there." Like Ron doesn't have flaming red hair and you can't spot him anywhere.
Yeah, right? Like, oh, you're here. Oh, okay, interesting. So there's a lot of back and forth here at this moment. There's a lot of talking, a little kerfuffling between them. And the game starts and Harry's like, okay, if there's any moment that I need to catch this, like right away, it's now. And it's happening. And then all of a sudden, Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle, they just say the wrong things, on purpose. But it gets to the point where they're like, Ron's like, you know what? That's enough of it. He couldn't take it anymore. Ron and Neville, right? Because Neville's so cute, tries to stand up for himself and says, you know what, Malfoy? I'm worth 12 of you. So cute.
And Ron's like, you tell him, Neville.
So okay, he is trying his best to stand up to him. I love that. He's getting his Gryffindor vibes on. He's trying to be brave and stand up to him, which is fantastic.
No.
What happened?
She always tries to bite my earrings.
Ah, I see. And then,
so Ron finally snaps.
He does, because he says, Longbottom, if brains were gold, well, this is Malfoy, you'd be poorer than Weasley, and that's saying something. And, you know, things start happening. He says again, you're in luck, Weasley. Potter's obviously spotted some money on the ground when he goes in for a dive. Ron snaps. The actual brawl begins.
He jumps over the seat and jumps on top of Malfoy.
Yes. Crab and Goyle, pretty much Crab and Goyle against Neville and Malfoy against.
The best part about that is, so it says Ron snapped. Before Malfoy knew what was happening, Ron was on top of him, wrestling him to the ground. Neville hesitated, then clambered over the back of the seat to help. And later on, it says that Ron and Malfoy are going at it, and poor Neville ends up with 2 against 1, going against Crab and Goyle.
Exactly.
Sorry for the dog butt, people. She's so indecent.
It's just a dog butt. Relax, everyone. All right. Look at that little tail.
She's insane, bro. Like,
she's a happy girl. She's wagging her little tail back and forth. Is she sleeping up there or what?
No, she's being nosy. She's never been in here before.
A new place.
She's sniffing.
All the while this is happening, Harry takes a dive and catches the switch. Literally in record time. So that's all happening, and it's like, congratulations, the game is over. Dumbledore was there, right? Dumbledore watched, which made Harry extremely relaxed. But Dumbledore comes up to him and he goes, I'm so glad to see that you're not worrying about that mirror. That you're actually focusing on other things.
Yep.
Yeah. So then everybody disperses. They all go back to their common rooms or whatever. And Harry's changing and, you know, getting ready. And then he's got to put his broom away or whatnot. And all of a sudden, he sees some interesting, shady behavior. Snape skulking about the grounds very near the Forbidden Forest. And for some reason, of course, Harry decides he needs to investigate it because he thinks that he's, you know, a 37-year-old member of the Ministry of Magic.
Even though he's only 11 and he's only known that he was a wizard for like 3 months.
And there he goes, hops on his broom, all super quiet, and just tries to follow from above, from the treetops. And
I'm Batman.
Yeah. And he just so happens to find Snape cornering Quirrell, what looks like Snape cornering Quirrell, asking him, have you figured out how to get past the 3-headed dog yet? Did you figure out who's Hocus Pocus?
Oh, did you figure out how to get past Hagrid's dog? And what was your bit of hocus? Are you going to tell me what your little bit of hocus pocus is?
Okay, so what Quirrell's hocus pocus was.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So basically, Snape is pushing him, right? He's pressing to try to get that information out of him. And Quirrell's like, but I can't, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're looking for, right? And he says, you know perfectly well what I mean. You know what I want. And he says, all right, we'll have another chat soon when you've had time to think over and decide where your loyalties lie. Now, to Harry Potter, who is skulking about the treetops, looking in on this scene, that looks bad, right? It looks like Snape is putting the screws to Quirrell. And, Quirrell's already in a delicate state as it is. Quirrell being Quirrell and all. And so Harry rushes back to Gryffindor Tower, obviously to divulge all of this information to Ron and Hermione. And Hermione's like, where have you been? We're trying to party over here. And I wrote in my notes, one of Fred and George's signature bashes.
They stole some cakes and stuff from the kitchens.
As we get to find out, this is not the first time. Well, this is not the first time, and it definitely will not be the last time that Fred and George decide to party, right?
Fred and George throw the best Gryffindor common room parties.
Yeah, they're not. Are they illegal? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, especially after they've, had a game and stuff like that. I remember one particular game. I don't remember which book it is or which game it was. But they kept on, partying, and McGonagall kept coming up telling them to go to bed.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're illegal. They just have to, go to bed at a decent time, stop making noise, and,
Does butterbeer get you drunk if you're a kid?
No, Butterbeer gets elves drunk because they're so little.
We will find that out soon.
The warm butterbeer supposedly does warm them up from the inside, but it doesn't get them drunk. It just warms them. So that's why they drink the warm butterbeer. Yeah, that's why they drink the warm butterbeer when it's cold and snowy. But then the other butterbeer is just in a bottle.
Okay, so they're not partying. They're just having a good time partying.
No, I imagine butterbeer is like butterscotch soda, but it's magic.
Yes, and if you're curious to try it, they sell it at all parks, Wizarding World parks and Wizarding tours and things like that. And they do have different iterations. Actually, it was just Butterbeer Month or Butterbeer Festival, something like celebration of butterbeer. And they have actually in your land, co-host, which is my former land, Los Angeles.
Out here in LA, where the Universal tram crashed yesterday and injured 14 people. Yeah.
Yeah, there. At that point. They actually closed was it Weasley's Wizard Wheezes or something like that? And they opened Florian Fortescue's ice cream shop.
Okay.
So
they probably closed Zonkos because they didn't have Weasleys. They had Zonkos.
Zonkos. I knew it was something joking.
Yeah.
Okay, so they closed Zonkos to put in Florian Fortescue's, and they have butterbeer flavored soft serve.
Oh, okay. Also, there are really good recipes if you go and Google on the internet. My kids used to make it at home all the time with cream soda, the butterscotch ice cream syrup, and whipped cream.
Yeah.
So
And
Just
I think making it at home is way better.
yeah, because you can do your own like what's the word I'm looking for? Proportions.
And sugar content.
Well, but that's what I mean by proportions. So you do your own proportions, but also like your own consistencies. Like they offer a liquid one that's cold, they offer a frozen one, they offer a warm one. So being able to do it at home, you can tweak it to your liking, sweet or not. Yeah. Use whatever kind of, because my kids were very particular about what kind of cream soda they wanted when they did it. Yes. Or if it wasn't A&W, the only other one they would accept was the I can't remember, but it comes in a bottle and it's like handcrafted. I can't think of it right now.
I don't know.
I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, you can have these butterbeer drinks and confections in many places. Although be warned, it is so sweet.
Yeah.
I only want the cup, you know. I have to kind of force myself to drink the drink. Anyway, moving on.
So they're partying in the Gryffindor common room.
And Ron gets to finally tell Harry about the kerfuffle, right? He says, I gave Malfoy a black eye, and Neville tried to take on Crabbe and Goyle single-handed. He's still out cold, but Madam Pomfrey says that he'll be all right.
But I mean, that was bound to be the case. Come on, poor Neville against Crabbe and Goyle. Crabbe and Goyle are good for nothing but being the muscle, because they're dumb as rocks and they're huge.
It's hilarious. All right. So then Harry's like, okay, who cares? I get that's great, wonderful, whatever, but get this. And then he tells me exactly what he saw in the forest. Pushing on Quirrell, right? And one of my favorite lines in this chapter. So when Hermione says, so you mean the stone's only safe as long as Quirrell stands up to Snape? And here goes Ron. It'll be gone.
It'll be gone by next Tuesday. I love Ron.
Yes. See so much of Ron in the books, right? Like here we can very seamlessly move in to book versus movie here.
Okay.
The quip. Oh my gosh, the quip. I love it. Right, Stormy? Do you love the quip too?
It'll be gone by next Tuesday.
Yeah. Do you have any book versus movie moments that you thought were very glaring?
Honestly, at this point, it's derailing from the book so much. So, most of it doesn't happen like that. Yeah. Most of it doesn't happen that way. At this point, we're getting into the pieces that they glossed over to get the movie to, speed or whatever. I'm trying to remember. In the movie, Harry did overhear Snape and Quirrell talking, but I think he heard them talking in the hallway when he had on his cloak even.
Yes.
What else?
Yeah, it was one of the times. So it was when we have to go back to the previous chapter when
he was sneaking around.
Trying to get to the mirror. So when he was sneaking around and he found the mirror, in one of those times, he was trying to go into a little cut, and there was Snape pressing on Quirrell in the hallway when Filch came to tell them that someone was out of bed. So they're really condensing everything in the movies at this point.
Yep. And we're getting toward the end. There's only like 4 more chapters in this book.
Yeah.
And so now it's getting to like the point in the movie where they're like, all right, let's wrap it up. We're getting to the climax here.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And one other thing. We also did not discuss one hilarious point where Ron was trying to when Harry had to tell everybody. Oh no, wait, no. When was it? Big yawn.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Is she a sleepy baby?
Yeah, she let out the big yawn.
Oh, I wish Los Angeles and Japan were closer.
She could play with your babies right now, but they wouldn't want to play with her later.
Cinnamon would be okay. Yeah, Mother was a bit annoyed with big dogs, but Cinnamon, she's fine by herself.
What's your matter? You got cold? I'm gonna pause you for a second. She might have to go potty.
Okay. I think another book versus movie moment was when Ron was playing chess with Hermione. So when Harry had found out about Snape refereeing the match to tell them he was interrupting their chess game, which is something that Hermione always lost at, right? She was
the one thing she always lost at.
Yeah, she was always bad at, which the boys thought was very good for her because it humbles you, right?
Right. You got to have one thing you're not good at, dude. You can't be good at everything.
At least. Okay,
Jesus,
at least
Hermione.
one thing. Yeah, she can't be perfect. But I think that was another book versus movie moment, right? Where
Yeah, because I don't think they were playing chess in the movie.
No.
I know in the movie they show Ron and Harry playing chess, but I don't think they ever show Hermione and Ron playing chess.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of deviations at this point.
Yeah. And we'll have more as we go through the chapters because like you said, they're condensing everything. So there's a lot of detail that's missing from the movies.
Yes.
All right. Well, then that takes us to our takeaways. What was your takeaway from this chapter? Oh, you want me to go first?
Oh, go for it.
Okay. So I highlighted mine. After the game, when Harry's in the locker room, he's going to take his broom to the shed, and it says he couldn't ever remember feeling happier. He'd really done something to be proud of now. No one could say he was just a famous name anymore. Yeah. And I loved that for him because he suddenly finds out he's a wizard. He suddenly gets thrown into the magical world. And in that magical world, he's one of the most famous wizards ever. And he has no idea why or any experience on dealing with being so famous or any of those things. And for me, it gave a little bit of imposter syndrome. He was like, look, now I've done something. Me, I did it. Now I have a reason for people to know my name. And I thought that was sweet and sad.
Well, yeah. There are a lot of those sweet and sad moments, right?
Yeah.
Where
but is it bittersweet?
Yes. Yes. Because you think, wow, for the kid to have to go through these things and at his age and stuff, but be triumphant all the while. And, that makes you happy and excited for what's to come. And that's actually, I think, what keeps us turning the page, right?
Yeah. It's that hope and that.
Also the same exact takeaway for me. It just gets better and better. And it's the little things. Like Ron and Neville sticking up for themselves and kind of in a sense Harry as well, when they fight against Malfoy and Crabbe and Goyle. Just finding themselves in that way. So,
And the fact that poor Neville is such a like goofy little oddball and everybody laughs at him or whatever, and Hermione and Ron and Harry are always just nice to him because humanity.
yeah,
Like,
because humanity, because we're all different, because it's wonderful for
and
everyone.
poor Neville, he just doesn't have any confidence. He's a nice enough boy. He's obviously got the qualities to be in Gryffindor. What the heck is wrong with you people?
Yeah. And everybody blooms differently, right? So you've got like people like Hermione who have it together quickly, early, but also still has her difficult moments, like when she has to play chess. And then you have like Ron, who has to deal with his family and stuff, and being that mom wanted a girl and he's the last of the boys.
Between the twins and the girl.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good to be able to let people develop in their own time and cross the hurdles that they have to cross and help them do it.
And they're all still, every chapter they come more into themselves. And their group solidifies, the threesome.
Yes.
All right. You know what that means.
It's time to make magic.
Bum, bum, bum.
All right. This time around, I feel like we are doing something that is signature in the world, in the Harry Potter world, in the wizarding world. And of course, I wanted to keep in the theme of making Christmas tree ornaments, or just hanging ornaments that you can put wherever you'd like. Hit them with the pictures. Here are my personal materials. So there is a website that I will note that is very, very kind, that has been, it's like Cinereplicas that literally put all of this together in PDF files so that you do not have to do anything other than hit print. Okay.
Love that.
Yes, I love that. They have the box itself, and they have the front and back of the cards. And the hardest part was finding a frog. This just so happens to be a kid's bubble bath bomb, like a bath. Inside, there is a capsule, and there's a frog inside, and there are 1 in 4 different shapes that you can get. So I bought 2. That was the first one. And basically, I cut out all the stuff. You can go to the next slide. I cut out all the cards, made sure that I had sets to be able to put together. And then they actually have a ton of options. Can I see the next one? You can do Albus Dumbledore. Look at there. There's Lord Voldemort. There's also...
Wait. I didn't know Lord Voldemort had a card.
Well, I don't know if he does or not. I think this is just from the Cinereplicas, like from the website there where they did it all.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I thought that. Oh, and then they even have a Birdie Bot card.
Nice.
They have all 4 of the house. What am I trying to say? The founders.
The houses.
Yeah, the founders of Hogwarts. They have all 4 of those. They also have Like I said, Bertie Bott, Voldemort, and a bunch of others. I chose specifically the four founders, Dumbledore, and Voldemort. I thought that those would be the most comprehensive. And there's my little frog. I tried with a marker. That did not work, so don't do that. I also tried with spray paint. That didn't really work very well. The best thing that worked was the acrylic paint. So, yeah. And
It
then
looks
you
like
basically
chocolate. I love it.
Yeah, and then I scrubbed inside and I cut the top a little bit so that I can pull the string through. And yeah, I mean, you can the little cards, they fit inside of the box. And the little frog just so happens to fit perfectly into the box, that size. I printed it on, let me show you. Yeah, that is what it looks like. And then it closes up. But I don't know if I like the opening point. Like, it opens down, right? But I don't know I don't know if I really like it that much that way. What do you think?
I mean, I understand why you would. It doesn't seem intuitive.
Right, like you want it to open up.
Right. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let me show you the real deal here. So I also, just to let you know, I used this size. It's called, in Japan, it's called 2L, which is 5 by 7 in inches. It's a 5 by 7 postcard-ish picture paper. And
I'll
it
just
worked.
be using cardstock.
Well, I really like the shine on the picture
Yeah,
paper.
I still haven't found any photo paper, so.
Look at this little thing.
It's smaller than I pictured.
Yeah.
Now that you put it up against your hand.
Yeah. And then the back also has this.
Cute.
Yeah. And I just strung it up. So, like, there are flaps inside here. And before I pushed these flaps down into here, I put the string behind these flaps and then I taped it down and then I cut here to like pull it out. And then it works like that.
That is so cute. It looks smaller when you put it against your hand than in the pictures.
Yeah. And here's Albus Dumbledore.
Albus.
And here's all the information. It says exactly. It says, Albus Dumbledore, brilliant and often controversial headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Albus Dumbledore is most famous for his 1945 defeat of Grindelwald and his steadfast championing of Harry Potter, the boy who lived. Dumbledore's self-proclaimed proudest achievement, however, was featuring on a famous wizard chocolate frog card. And they fit perfectly in there, just like that. And here's my little frog.
It really looks like a little solid chocolate frog.
Yeah, but it's
I love that.
It's wiggly.
It still looks like a chocolate frog.
Yeah, but you can just put it in there and it fits perfectly. And that's it. We've got our little new hanger, our little tree top, our little tree ornament. And that is our craft for this week. So this is what they look like. And I made Dumbledore and I made Voldemort. And I made, let's see, Slytherin, Salazar Slytherin. Can you see that?
It's a little bit fuzzy, but I see it.
Helga Hufflepuff.
Helga.
Rowena Ravenclaw.
Woot woot, Ravenclaw's in the house.
And Godric's who is looking very Game of Thrones, by the way.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. And he has the sword, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it was a really fun craft.
All right. Let's see how that one comes out. You know what that means then? It is time for Hallows or Horcruxes. This week's Would You Rather. So we know that Harry has an invisibility cloak, and we now know about the existence of the Sorcerer's Stone, which provides riches and immortality and all of the things. But in that spirit, but not exactly that, this week's Would You Rather is, would you rather have the ability to be invisible or to be immortal?
Right off the bat, I would much rather be invisible. Immortality? Oh my gosh. That sounds so tedious. I mean, yes, life is wonderful, and there are moments where it's like, yay, and then there are moments where it's like, not yay. And
yeah, but like, okay, go ahead.
Here's the thing. I would be the only person who's immortal, right? I can't give my immortality to anybody else or like share it. I mean, see, here's the thing. In this case, with the Sorcerer's Stone, Nicholas Flamel has given the elixir of life to his wife as well. So, you know, they're
immortal together.
Yeah. Instead, if it's just me, I have to watch everyone else just go. No, I'd rather be invisible for sure.
So I said the same thing simply because I don't want to be immortal. I don't want to fucking be here forever. I hate this place. And like you said, like it just sounds tedious. I was thinking about like, so his wife, 658. Who the hell wants to be 658 years old?
You definitely don't have enough room on the cake for that many candles.
Dude. And like at that point is, I mean, the only upside is you could get in all your bucket list items and more. Okay. But 658? Bruh.
But also, what is your health like?
Because it doesn't necessarily mean that you're healthy. You're just continue to live.
Right.
Like, if my knees give out and I can't walk anymore.
Well, like, okay, so remember in Fantastic Beasts, there, can I, like, spoiler alert a little bit?
Spoiler alert. Okay, go.
Spoiler alert. Nicholas Flamel appears in the movies, and he is brittle and frail, and like just a handshake breaks fingers.
And the first Fantastic Beasts is in like 1920. The first Harry Potter, which we're in right now, is like 1998.
1990s, yeah. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. He was born in 1980. So it's supposed to be 1991, not 1998. Yeah. So from 1920 to 1991 is 71 years. 71 years prior to right now when we're talking about Mr. Flamel, who is 666 years old.
And he's already brittle.
71 years prior.
Yeah, and that's a whole other life, right? Like some people.
Oh God, I'm sorry. All I can think of is, are you a ghost?
My favorite character.
I love Jacob.
Yeah. So basically, that's a no-go for me.
Yeah, I don't want to be immortal either. I say every week on the podcast how much I hate it here. Earth sucks, bro. I don't want to be here forever and ever and ever. 600, 700, 800 years. What the hell?
It sounds fun, you know. It sounds really
fun. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't sound fun.
There are things.
Moments, though. Moments out of 665 years?
Exactly.
Dude, take off the 65 years. 600 years?
Yeah. And then you have to consider also, you're just asking if I'd rather be immortal or if I'd rather be invisible. You're not telling me that I can have the Sorcerer's Stone.
No, not necessarily.
Right. So what are my finances like? Right? I might not be able to enjoy the life that I have.
Yeah, I just don't. Like you said, I think tedious was a great word for it. That just, like, what? 600 years, bro. 600 I'm good. I'm good. All right, then. I guess that means it's time to wrap it up, madam. Tell the people where to find you.
Poodle Noodle 82 at the Instagram place.
The Instagram place. Hey, y'all. Hey, it's me, Christina McCrary on Facebook, aka Christina McCrazy on TikTok and Instagram. I have some other AKAs and all that good stuff. Co-host of this podcast, co-host of Thursday Night Live, host of McCrazy's Place, all presented by Sarcarrogance Media Group, SMG or SMD, to find all things McCrazy, including the website for this podcast, where you can watch or listen or click through to the Sarcarrogance website and find the Lightning Bolt Chronicles merch or, any of that kind of stuff. Go to my link, msha.ke/Xtina McCrazy. You will find all things McCrazy there, merch, all the podcasts, all the good stuff. Thank you for joining us. If it was your first time, we hope you will return. If you are returning, thank you for coming back, and we hope to see you again. Have a magical 2 weeks, and we'll see you then.